another year, another annual ceiling fan video tour. Hello everyone, my name is the Russian Kinger, formerly the Russian Fazbear, and today I am going to be giving you a mostly comprehensive tour of my entire ceiling fan collection. The reason I say mostly comprehensive is because at this point there's so many odds and ins and outs that it is possible I could accidentally gloss over something, and in that case, please forgive me, but I'm going to try and cover as much as I can. So, without further ado, let's get started. We will begin in the bedroom that started it all, where I have 6 ceiling fans installed. Right here is an antique white Fasco State Fair, 46 inches. It's got some rust on the housing, but still runs great. Over here is a polished brass Emerson Legend, 52 inch. Over here is a brown and brass Fasco parlor fan. Here is a polished brass Codep Series 100 Galaxy fan with the ornate bottom plate. Right here is an antique white and polished brass Slumber Quiet Casablanca 4 Seasons, 38 inch. And then over here is a green 1930s Hunter Original, 52 inch as well. Then over here on this shelf are the remaining parts to the 1930s original, as well as some glassware and a mounting bracket. Over here on the floor are a bunch of boxes. In this stack, the bottom 2 contain blades and the top 2 contain glass. This one here, for instance, has a halogen starlight in it. These smaller crates over here contain smaller parts. For instance, the top one, have it labeled to say switches, as it contains all sorts of switches. Dimmers, wall controls, and the like. And the other 3 follow suit. This one, for instance, has remotes. This one is blade brackets. And then the bottom one is switch caps and small down rods. This crate contains mostly light kits, also some canopies and such. And then that crate contains mostly smaller parts. This box here has 2 originals in it. A big black one and a little brown one. And then, as you can see here, no blades to be found under the bed. However, they have all been moved to inside of that box, as well as this box. And then that box on top of that has more glass in it. Definitely not as interesting from a visual standpoint, but does help me out quite a bit from an organizational standpoint. Also, dust buildup as well. That is everything for this room. Okay, next clip. Up in the guest bedroom, in the bedroom area, is an antique brass ornate Fasco parlor fan with cane blades. And back in the hallway is a polished brass Casablanca Cambridge, Slumber Quiet. Nothing in the bathroom anymore. Then down here on the floor is an antique brass R&M original in the box. Blades on top, has reverse air irons, as you can see right there. Then moving over to the first crawl space here, turn the light on. Have a couple boxes and then several motors surrounding. Inside of the boxes is, I believe, a pair of Delta 2s, one brown and one washed bronze. As for the surrounding motors, you have another brown Delta 2, a brass and copper Victorian, a turbo Zephyr, a regular Zephyr, and farthest fan back, I believe, is a Delta. You have an original, a Newtone Hacienda, Homestead Stratford Superfan, low profile original, CEI fan, Delta 2, Zephyr, original, Victorian, and another original. And then there's a white Navajo Panama poking out around the box right there. On the shelf is a Florentine Verde Delta 2, a Lady Delta, a Four Seasons, a Delta, and a Littleton. And then up on the top, two Four Seasonses, a Lady Delta, and another Four Seasons. And then a few blade sets up on the top shelf where motors can't fit. I may have forgotten to point out that Century 9000 back there as well, next to the Panama. Alright, that is all to be seen in this crawl space. Then moving over to this crawl space. First off to the right, are 4 boxes all packed with blades. Open this one up real quick to give you an idea. You can see that there are blade sets in here. Inside of this box are 3 motors, an Evergo fan, Casablanca Mercury, and a Casablanca Panama. And then off to the left-hand side is Robbins & Myers, an antique, 4 brown Fasco heat cyclers, and in the back, a Davenport. And then as well there are various heat cycler blade sets strewn about the room. And then that's the canopy for the Robinson Myers right there. That's all to be seen on that side. Moving over to this side, off to the left are two more boxes full of blades, these two having labels on them. However, I'm sure at this point those are very outdated. 1895 blade set on top, and then various motors along the carpeted floor as well, including an Old South, a WF series, a Victorian, a parlor fan, a white 1930s original, a Zephyr, a parlor fan, a Zephyr, a Victorian, and things continue further into the back. Okay, picking up where I left off now that I have a flashlight at my disposal. So beyond the Victorian is a halogen star, an ornate Casa Classic that needs a new pull chain, a brown original, a Panama, another Old South, a Century 9000, pardon me, I need to crawl back in here a little further, a K4B, a Moss Heirloom Olympus, a Hunter 1032, a Victorian, ornate 1895, Passport 3, Zephyr, 48-inch original, Newtone Hacienda, Spartan Savannah, Saturn, Tropical Breeze Deluxe, Ventura, Charleston, and Columbia 2. Inside of those two boxes are two originals, one of which is an ornate original, the other of which is just a standard brown and brass one, non-R&M. The ornate one obviously being R&M. Slim line in the box on top, and then on top of that some boxed Casablanca parts. Moving over to the shelves, up there are two low profiles, a parlor fan, Saturn glass, copper 4 seasons, Delta 2, Delta 1, Delta Seasons, Not a Sanyo, Meridian, Ventura, Delta 2, 4 Seasons, Friction, Minuet, and Infinity. And then if I can get a quick shot up at the top there, just have some other blade sets, some of which boxed, lying around up there. Right here are the blades for the friction drive, as well as some other boxes containing blades, motors, and other things. This one is a Newtone Veranda 2 in the box. I believe this is Select Touch. And as you can see, the insulation is falling down from the ceiling. It's a bit disarrayed, but haven't had the time to fix it yet, so maybe someday. As you can see, with the moving of fans to the new house, there are significantly less in here than there have been in previous years. However, there is still definitely a pretty sizable quantity. That much is for sure. Alright, that is that. Quick pickup shot to showcase in the corner of the closet here with the boxed R&M original. Various long down rods and other miscellaneous parts back there, such as Fasco canopies and Casablanca LCAs. And then, over on that side of the closet, even longer down rods. Yay, long down rods. In the master bedroom, is an antique brass Quorum Remington, 48 inches about. Running in updraft with a bit of a wobble. And now, out in the garage, 3 ceiling fans are installed as per usual. In the closest spot is a Brown & Brass Crest 2000 series, 40 to 42 inches. In the middle spot is a polished brass Casablanca 4 Seasons with cane blades, 38 inches. And in the far spot is a white K63 Emerson heat fan, 38 inches. Then going over to the workbench, some tools strewn about, but up on top, a few parts motors. In here is a Snow White blade set, as well as a few other things, an IT control there. Junk drawers, wiring and other small electronics in here. This one's a bit more tidy, has some ceiling fan catalogs and documents among other things. Bottom drawer, various smaller fan parts. And no more motors down on that shelf. However, do have some blades tucked inside of this box right here. Once again, not quite as substantially much as years past, but is par for the course with things getting moved about between 2 houses. So anyways, that is all to be seen here. See you in a moment for the next house. And voila, we are at the second house. Starting off here in the basement are 2 white and brass Fasco State Fairs, 46 inches. Each currently running on low. And they each have a ceiling medallion around them, because they replaced can lights, a somewhat common trend around this house. This one here is mainly above the video game area. And then this one is sort of off to the side by this couch, which has cushions on it currently, and the closet over there. Overall, a pretty good setup. Definitely helps for airflow down here. In the living room is a Snow White Casablanca 4 Seasons, 48 inches, Slumber 3, with a K4S. Upstairs, in the master bedroom, is an antique white Fasco Charleston. 4 blades, 52 inches, of the 3rd generation. And the fan has a generic turtle fitter on it in polished brass. Gets the job done well. Moving on over to the office is a Casablanca Lady Delta in designer gray, 42 inches. And then, over in my room, is a Homestead Stratford Superfan, polished brass. Has a 4-arm light kit on it, which is essentially Homestead's version of the Casablanca K4. Homestead label can be seen on this side. Very nice fan. And then in my closet, I still have an antique brass Casablanca Low Ceiling Series, 38 inches, with Slumber 5 and logo tip blades. And the fan has a mushroom globe on it. It may have had a different globe on it last time it was videoed, or maybe not, can't quite remember. Either way, there it is. There's the Homestead again. And the Superfan wall control. Alright, and now I am on the top floor. We'll start with the ceiling fans installed on the ceiling. Right here at the top of the stairs is an antique brass Homestead Windsor Comfort Flow, 29 inch. It has the Casablanca equivalent of a K4S on it. 5-speed click knob can be seen on this side. Right here is an antique white Casablanca 4 Seasons with a K63 motor. Here is an antique brass Kenroy 1052, I think that's the model name, top-mounted spinner. Right here is an antique English brass Thomas T5. Then next to that is a walnut brown Fasco parlor fan. In the center is a polished brass Fasco World's Fair. Right here is a white Thomas T3, 38 inches. And there is a gray Fasco Decorator, 48 inches. Then along the back row is a Casablanca Cambridge, antique white and polished brass, with Slumber Quiet. An antique white and Corsican brass Fasco Old South, 38 inches. And a walnut brown Fasco porch fan, 52 inches. Now we will move on to the ground. It's a little cluttered, but definitely has been worse in years past. So let's start here at the corner. We have 2 parlor fans, a series of Delta 2s in assorted finishes, a Saturn, a Zephyr, a Great Room, Coventry Homestar, Thomas Hugger, Thomas T3, Great Room, Broadway, A&G, Cali Zephyr, Vanity Fair. Then we'll move over to this side. We have Parlor Fan, Windsor Superfan, 4-Wind, Whisper Fan 4, Whisper Fan 1, Charleston, Decorator, Parlor Fan, Great Room, Centennial, Parlor Fan, Four Seasons, Cambridge, Low Profile, Veranda Deluxe, and also a pair of bolt cutters just sitting on the floor. Here's my desk, which has my laptop and also various other pieces, such as opened cardboard box, wire nuts, circuit boards, smaller pieces, etc., etc. Then right here, we have the shelf. Up on top are assorted light kits. I have some single fitters, a spotlight kit, among a few others. On the next shelf down are 2 red ladies and 2 low profiles. Oh, also, Evergo Saratoga manual. The one I have is currently hanging at the Fanimation Museum, so took this back with me. Next shelf down we have a Panama, a State Fair, a Heat Fan, and a Stratford Superfan. And then finally on the bottom shelf we have 2 Panamas and a small original. A few long down rods just laying around. Various wiring and other smaller parts in those 2 boxes. Right there is a Casablanca box with the 5th blade to the green 1930s from the other house on top. This blade is pretty warped, so gonna need to de-warp that one. Right there is a Casablanca sign that I still need to hang up on the wall somewhere. And then right here is a bed, and on each side of the bed are drawers packed to the brim with various blade sets. Blades in here still have the irons attached. This set belongs to the antique brass low profile over there. This set belongs to the small original on the shelf. This set is Old Jacksonville. In here, this set belongs to the Centennial. That set to the Pewter Zephyr. And there's other blade sets underneath, but I'm sure you get the idea. I don't need to necessarily dig through everything. Though there are more drawers on the other side, which I can briefly showcase. In here we have Windsor blades, Red Lady blades, or excuse me, Red Delta 2 blades. And here we have Homestead blades, Copper Victorian blades, Four Seasons blades. And in here are more blades without irons. Decorator, Emerson Legend. Underneath there are blades for an Emerson Premium, among many others. Over in this corner is a small tower of boxes with two motors leaning against it. Have the twin Stratford superfans, the one installed in my room, as well as the aforementioned Emerson Casa Classic Premium. As for these boxes, they mostly contain motors. This one, for instance, has two plastic Emerson designers in it. This one has the Emerson Legend. This one has, according to the label, Casablanca Saturn. Not sure if that's still true. Up here, you'll see in this open box, is a brown Casablanca Zephyr. Yeah, Zephyr, not Delta, Zephyr. Very nice. And in this other open box is smaller parts such as light bulbs, IT controls, canopies, switch caps, other small parts. And of course, this big box down here at the bottom that these two motors are leaning against has my Casablanca Centennial inside. Right here is my shop light that I use for fan videos. As you can probably tell from this video, the lighting isn't the greatest, so I usually use this to try and get a boost, at least until I can afford a better quality camera. Someday it'll happen. Anyways, the last thing to showcase before we go into the crawl space is the glassware setup on this dresser here. Have some glass laying around on top. However, also inside of the drawers are various sets of glass. Most of them wrapped with bubble wrap or other types of plastic for padding purposes. Very nice. Alright, now let's head into the dungeon. And in we go. Our final stop for the video, the crawl space. So we'll start off here in this first little area. Get my flashlight. On the floor here we have a Verde Original, Panama, Terra, two heat cyclers, Four Seasons, Zephyr, and a New Orleans. Back there are various boxes containing light kits, fan motors, among other parts. On the top there is a Ferrari Red K4B and a boxed Homestead light. Further along there are some open boxes containing packing materials and other smaller parts. Then over on this side with the shelf, here we have two Casablanca Delta Seasonses, a gray Lady Delta, a parlor fan, an Alta, and then down below is a Huntington 3 and a Victorian, as well as a spare motor there, and another spare motor, or handful of spare motors down there. Along this shelf we have spare set of Fasco blades, Veranda 2, Victorian, Victorian, Columbia 2, Delta 2. And down here is an open box full of various blade sets with the irons detached. Upper shelf here, starting from the left, is 20th Century, Delta, Four Seasons, E5200 by Spartan, Lady Delta, Four Seasons, Panama, Delta. Up on the top shelf are various blade sets, these ones with the irons attached for the most part. And this spans the entire length of the shelving units, all the way to the back. Picking up along here at the middle part, here are three boxes, two of which are Casablanca, one of which is a Fasco, World's Fair. There's also this box containing some glass. Down here on the bottom layer is a Four Seasons, a Panama, and a Delta 2. Down there is a box containing blade sets. Then up here, more small motors, Charleston, Meridian, Porch Fan, Alpine Four Seasons thingy, Gallery Four Seasons, and a Homestead motor. Next shelf up, we have Old Jacksonville, Zephyr, Tropical Breeze DX, Lady Delta, Zephyr. Then, on this final shelf here, the two Haiku boxes contain more fan blades, as does the blower vacuum box. These ones containing mostly larger blades, this one mostly smaller blades, as could be assumed by the size of them and the dimensions. Down here on the ground, 36-inch original, Cascade, Delta, Delta 2, Zephyr, Parlor Fan, Victorian, Elegance. And back there's a chandelier. And there's a bit of open floor space right here, which if I can find more padding, I will definitely try and fit more motors here. As every single motor I have on the floor, I never have it directly on the wood. It's always padded by carpeting or some sort of foam or bubble wrap. And that's also the case for the wood shelves, as can be seen here. This box, right over here, contains parts fans, mostly fans that either I harvested for parts or came to me in pieces, whatever the case may be. Right here, these boxes don't have fan parts. This one is various glass, such as cups and saucers, packaged up with paper. And right there are Christmas lights. And on top of that is a desk pad. Down there are a bunch of long down rods. And then there are more open boxes. And a light kit right there. So that, as far as I can tell, about covers it for back here. So with that, we have reached the end of the video tour. That is everything, give or take, in my ceiling fan collection as of September 18, 2024. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. More to come. And until next time, stay cool. And I'll be here. The Russian Kinger, formerly the Russian Fazbear, out.